Hello book lovers and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins and today I'm talking to author Jenny Jeffrey. Jenny is the author of Awakening, The Inevitable Door. From the moment of our birth, death, a mystery still, becomes a fact of life. In 1984, Jenny witnessed the death of her 3-year-old daughter, Ellen Meyer. Awakening, The Inevitable Door is written in conversation with her daughter, revealing her dying process, her birth and her conception, which had its beginnings in another dimension. Amazing. Hello Jenny, welcome and thank you for coming on Book Talk Radio Club.
Thank you so much, Claire. I'm really very happy to be here.
Thank you. Jenny, first of all, would you like to tell us about Ellen Meyer before she passed? What kind of child was she?
She was very forward. Very forward for her age, and the best way I think I can do this is describe some of the experiences I had.
Sure.
For example, when she was 2 days old, I washed her for the first time in the hospital, and she was on her tummy in the little cots that they have, the clear perspex cots. She was in the centre, and I was powdering her back, and I finished powdering her back, and she had moved from the centre of the cot right to the top. And she was 2 days old. And she stood up at 8 months old in the bath, but she didn't walk till she was over a year old. When she was 4 or 5 months, people used to see her in her pram and say hello to her, and she was going ooh, trying to say a hello back at 4 to 5 months old. She was very forward. She was writing her name at 2. Using a knife and fork in public at 2. She insisted on feeding herself at 10 months old with a little plastic fork that she would spear sausages. She had a thing about sausage. She would pop them in her mouth, and if I tried to do it, she didn't like it. She was very forward, and she would embrace something new with all her being. Like she crawled after she stood up. She crawled, and she would put her head down and crawl as fast as she could around the room, and she would do it for days and days, and then she would stop. It was almost like she had accomplished that.
Yes.
It was time to move on to the next.
Yeah.
And I recognized very early on that her maturing from a baby to a toddler was not the maturing of her brother and sister. I recognized that.
Right.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah.
You first received information from a dimension now known to you as the realms of light during your daughter's hospital stay. How did this information come to you? Was it a feeling, a voice in your head?
It was a voice on my left ear. It was the day before we left hospital. We had a room to ourselves, and next door, immediately next to my door, the opening to my door was another room. And there was a young lady there whose son had leukemia, 18 months old. And I was telling her that we were going home the next day because everything that could be done had been done. And she was talking to me. And as she was talking to me, I heard these words close to my left ear. It was family flowers only, donations in lieu to leukemia research. And I heard those words, and as soon as I heard those words, I knew I was being prepared for my daughter's passing.
Right.
I knew. So that's how that occurred, yes.
The second chapter is titled Passage Through the Door. Is this the door to which you are referring when someone passes?
Yes, I use the door as a symbol because it's a door that we all have to go through.
Yeah.
So I've used it as a symbol to symbolize moving from one aspect to another. It just seemed a nice symbol to use.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
It must have been very difficult to write that chapter, though.
I knew I needed to write that chapter straight after the first chapter, which says why I wrote the book after so long. I knew I needed to write that chapter. Because I felt it set up the interaction between myself and my daughter in the realms of light. It set it up really well, and it would give the reader a sort of an insight of how the book would be, and also my credibility for writing the book as well.
Right.
And but I didn't know how to start it, and as my daughter says, she wrote that. I've written this down here now. Sorry, I've just got to find this. She said to me, that beloved being of light, shall we enlighten the illusion by sharing our experiences of my passing? That's what she said to me when I when I wanted to write that chapter. And that's what started the flow, and I managed to get the chapter written. But we were interacting all the time, and she was telling me, I was writing it as I was receiving information, and she was bringing my experiences in as well.
It's such a beautiful chapter, because it really could be very sad, but actually it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, it did trigger me in the very beginning, because certain aspects were brought up that I didn't know were going to be brought up.
Sure.
And this happened through a lot of the first half of the book. It was a stage of growth for me as well. Absolutely. But thank you. Yes, this is why I felt it was important to write that particular chapter first, because we don't understand the illusion that we see the physical body as being dead. We don't see the greater magnificence of the metamorphosis that happens.
Exactly.
And the birth families involved. It's incredible, the way it's put over, and I just hope I've done it justice.
You have. You have. At the moment, we are going through a state of enormous spiritual growth from 3D to 5D, and yet one of your chapters talks about the 22nd dimension. Would you like to tell us more? I mean, how many dimensions are there?
Well, I have to say this, Claire, when I started writing the book, all I knew was a third dimension.
Yes.
And I know that the fourth dimension, excuse me, had been mentioned post 2012, and that had been, so I was aware that things were shifting.
Yes.
But about 6 or 8 months before I started writing the book, I received information from one light being that actually said that there are no individualized aspects of source within the 22nd dimension. And that triggered me to intuitively to understand. You see, in our reality as human beings, we're individualized expressions of source.
Yes.
Or the creator of all there is, or if you prefer God, whatever. And so when that information was given to me, I intuitively understood that within the 22nd dimension, we must have been a collective as souls. And I actually refer it to the group soul of humanity and the group consciousness of humanity, which are intertwined and interrelated. So that's how I understood the 22nd dimension to be. And of course that grew through writing the book, because I was out of my comfort zone quite a lot of times, and then I moved back in as I received information and my experiences were brought in. Yes, it was a journey.
You're both a clairvoyant and clairaudient. What is the difference between them?
Well, being clairvoyant or clairvoyance, you see frequencies on the TV screen of your mind as either black and white or coloured pictures or occurrences. I see in colour.
Right.
In colour. That's the simplistic way of saying. The third eye is involved as well.
So you saw Ellen Meyer using your clairvoyant sight. What did she look like?
Well, when I first started to see her after she passed, I saw her as a 3-year-old toddler.
Right.
And I was doing a month's retreat on my own, and she had several interactions with her, talking to me, and also with my niece who came just to be acknowledged. And I knew afterwards I could not go on relating to her as a 3-year-old child, because it was so many years after her demise. And not long after that, my guides told me, we want to show your daughter in her true essence. And I was shown her as a being, as light radiating as a 4-pointed star.
Beautiful.
And when I was writing the book and she showed herself in that way, the light was much, much brighter and much bigger, but it still radiated outwards, because light does radiate outwards. Yeah. And going back to clairaudient, or my clairaudient, I hear in the words being spoken. That's clairaudience.
Right.
And clairsentience is another one which I do, which when you feel the others, you feel those who have passed, you feel them.
Yeah, that's what I get, definitely. I don't see and I don't hear, but I get a feeling.
Yeah.
It's over 3 decades since Ellen Meyer passed. Why this book now? Why write the book now?
Well, I wrote the first chapter called Why Write This Now, to address that. And actually, I was feeling change occurring around me in 2010. And I thought, well, it'll present itself much more clearly, excuse me, in time. And in 2013, 6 months after I broke my right hip, I was in Romania. Hopefully, we're going to relocate there. I was visiting a place there. And I had a dream one morning. And in this dream, I was in a building. And I knew that a tidal wave was coming and it would encompass the building, which it did, but I was unharmed and so was the building. I woke up knowing that there was an emotional experience going to occur, and I had been prepared. Later on, and maybe 2 hours later, in the daily morning yoga meditation practice, my daughter came close as light, and she was supported by others, light beings, and she said to me, "You have light heart, and we have light heart and energy work to do together." And I asked her just afterwards, I said, "Is this to do with death and dying?" Because of the experience with my experiences around her, and because she had left so early. Yeah. And she said to me, "Yes, and beyond." And the Beyond book was the book taking on an energy of its own and getting much larger than I thought it was going to be in the beginning.
That's incredible. I mean, you've included a glossary and notes at the back of the book. What is that for?
Well, I always knew there'd be a glossary to help the reader understand some of the terms that are being used in the book. I always knew there'd be a glossary. But the Realms of Light actually asked me to include endnotes to help further the understanding of the reader.
Right. Because
the information can be complex at times, and I tried to write as simplistically as possible. But I felt that, I don't think with something as complex as this, I felt that, and the Realms of Light encouraged me to add the endnotes so that the reader would have a much greater understanding, to encourage the reader in their understanding.
You've lived in many different places, haven't you? As you say, you wrote Awakening in Bulgaria. What inspired you about that particular place? I mean, I've never been to Bulgaria, so you tell me.
Well, where I relocated specifically to a mountain valley to write Awakening, where there weren't any neighbours. It was a natural vortex of energy because the mountains surrounded it, and you walked down into the vortex. When I went to see the place, I was tuning into the energies, and it felt right for me to be there. And they supported me. The energies of the trees were amazing, and the life forms and the animals and things around there. And it's interesting that in the spring, in February, I could actually feel the energy rising in the trees, the spring-like energy.
Sure.
It was like, the growth starting. It was wonderful. I think I've left since then, and I've got a spring here, and I haven't felt it because it's not a vortex. That place, I was so incredibly blessed to be able to go there, because it did support me to write the book. Absolutely.
They say that we have to go through the dark night of the soul to come out the other side for something better. I agree with that too, as I experienced much trauma in my late 20s and early 30s. Had I not gone through my dark night of the soul, I doubt whether I would have had the awareness that I have now. Would you agree? Did Ellen Meyer's passing raise your awareness?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. In fact, I was still going through the dark tunnel, trying to come out the other side into the light, and seeing everything in shades of grey. But I knew that she was a catalyst for my growing awareness. Absolutely, yes.
As much as it may seem crazy to some people, I personally thank the individuals for the trauma. In fact, I see it as a blessing. What do you think?
Oh yes, absolutely, Claire. In fact, in the beginning of my book, I have actually stated I have gratitude for everything and everyone that's come into my life. For our journey together, no matter the distance, has always demanded of me greater awareness of myself. It's demanded that I know myself better. Yes, absolutely.
In fact, you say that you realise now why you felt so ill in the 4 months of the pregnancy. It was because Ellen Meyer was carrying a genetically based illness as an energy frequency, but it was responsible for the beginning of your awakening process. Please, can you explain, Jenny, genetically based illness as an energy frequency?
Well, Ellen herself gave me this information. You see, I didn't know this information prior to receiving some information 15 years afterwards. But during writing the book, Ellen actually gave some information to me, and she's told me the change to one X chromosome of my DNA, which is perceived in your world as mutation, was correlated as energetic frequency within my soul. And I also received information in 2009 that started that off, and Ellen clarified it. But you see, the soul carries the energetic frequency needed for the coming lifetime experiences. And when the soul fusion occurs within the growing baby at around 16 weeks, the DNA is imprinted with these frequencies. That's probably the easiest way to answer that. You see, it's the energy. The soul carries the energetic frequencies, and that is imprinted into the physical body at around 16 weeks, when the soul consciousness is aligned. I actually felt when I was around 16 weeks with Ellen, I actually felt the jolt when the consciousness of her soul merged with the physical body. I felt a jolt within in my tummy. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Let's talk about your earliest experience of other dimensions. How old were you when you experienced this? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I hadn't gone to school. I was around 4 years old.
In 1990, your psychiatric nurse training was interrupted by debilitating health issues, which included chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia and IBS, the result of taking prescribed steroids, and you moved to Bulgaria. Why Bulgaria?
Why Bulgaria? Right, now Bulgaria, yes, because I'd only just heard about the name, but it was in 2003, and I came in from outside. I was having some work done with the JCB to the cottage I moved up to, and I needed to rest, and I put the television on, and I had one at that time. I don't have one since being in Bulgaria, and I switched it on, and there was this program on called The Place of the Sun. It was halfway through, and it was showing these houses and the prices, and I was, where is this? Because I intuitively knew I needed a drier climate. Because I've been in Wales for over 30 years, the west of Ireland for 10, and the damp was beginning to have an effect.
I was going to say, it must have been very damp.
Yes, and I remember ringing my brother that evening and saying, oh, I explained, and he said, I've got it recorded, he said to me. Anyway, he came over with quite a lot of my family in the June of that year, and he told me, we were in Bulgaria last month, Jen. So literally 2 months later, he was over there with his wife, and we're going again in September. Would you like to come? I didn't even let him draw breath, and I said, yes, please. And I was there a week. I felt very much at home, an affinity with the language, and I'm no good at languages. And I came back to Wales for 2 days on my way back to Ireland, and I was walking up the road, and it was a little cloudy. I had bare arms, and my skin felt like it had got wet cling film on it from the damp. And everything seemed grey.
Yeah.
And when I went back to my place, I drove up along the single track road to the bottom gate. I opened the bottom gate, and normally when I'd been away from my cottage, I would open the gate, look up, and there was this lovely deep resonance in my heart, I'm home. On this occurrence, after coming back from Bulgaria, I looked at my cottage and looked up there, and nothing happened, and I thought,
There's a sign.
Yeah, and 2 years later, I bought in Bulgaria, and the following year, I actually moved. Yes.
You've personally experienced the healing, rebalancing, transmutative power of love, which at its most powerful is expressed energetically through the heart. Tell us what that means, please, because many people will say, well, the heart's just an organ in the body.
Yes, but you see, but the heart is much more than just an organ in the body.
Mm-hmm.
The heart actually speaks to the brain.
Yes.
That's a proven fact. The heart actually is where we feel our interconnection to each other, to every other human being, and to animals, and to nature, and to the planet herself. And it's been proven that the heart has the largest electromagnetic energy field of any organ in the body.
Mm-hmm.
The heart also has a vortex, because we have an energy field, commonly called the aura,
yes,
or the electromagnetic energy field. I refer to it as the soul light matrix in my book. And there is a vortex that goes into the heart, comes into the front and into the back. And the Heart Math Institute actually has proven that when we make decisions and choices and live from our heart, they call it heart coherence, it affects us very positively in our physical body. It affects us right to the level of our DNA. And it also affects those immediately around us, i.e. our family that we're living with. And it's been proven it also affects other people in proximity to us. I go further because my understanding is it affects the whole matrix of mankind. Yeah. And it's been proven. There is now, they're actually now beginning to feel and say that it even affects the planet, which I have written about in my book. Yes, it does affect the planet.
Yes, because it's all energy.
Because everything is energy and we're all interconnected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go on to say, we as humankind are changing from fear-based beings to heart-based beings. It is through our heart that we feel our energetic connection to all life, no matter the form. So how will people know when they have changed? What will they feel?
They will feel it in their heart, Claire. They will feel it. When I feel into my heart, it feels very, very warm. It's very expanded. I can feel energy moving out to the front of my heart and out to the back of my heart. That's the energy center as well as the heart. People will feel it. What will happen? People will feel less stressed, is probably the best word, by life circumstances when we sink into the heart, and that is our compass. That is our reference point to go through challenges in our life.
Exactly.
Especially this year and the years coming. It's vitally important.
You're a passionate advocate of the interconnectedness and intercommunication of humankind to and with animals and all life forms. What does this mean to you?
Well, basically that all life forms can communicate with us because we're interconnected. We're all energy. And my own personal experience has been an amazing one. For example, some years before I left for Bulgaria, I had a garden and I noticed the slugs were starting to work on my cabbages. So in the evenings, and of course I was in the northwest of Ireland, so it would be light till 11:30. I'd be sitting out in my garden. And in my mind, I would connect and see the different slugs that were around my garden. And I would ask them in my mind, please leave enough for myself and my friends.
I love that.
And I did this quite a few times. And what happened? They gravitated to one cabbage. And even that hearted up, but the outer leaves were shredded. They left the others alone.
That's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing.
I love that. All right, well, back to your book. It's such a comfort for those that have lost a loved one, and especially a child, that there is no such thing as death. Is that what you intended when you wrote and published the book?
Yes, that was the main reason. writing it.
Mm.
But I also felt, and this was reiterated to me by the realms of light, that many people see life as it is, and life is challenging, yes, but it is the illusion, especially, and death also is an illusion.
Yep.
And I actually say in my introduction that if I can suspend any belief in the illusions of death and life just for a moment, that your light will have shone all the more brilliantly, because we are light, and shining our light at these challenging times is vital. Using the heart to shine the light, absolutely, it is vital, and that is part of the essence of what I'm hoping is portrayed in my book.
So what are your hopes for awakening?
My hopes that it will inspire people to live from the heart. And when you sink into the heart, you see your heart will speak to you. Intuition. Yes. You will know. You see, we carry enormous wisdom within our physical body. We carry awareness of other dimensions. We carry that within our DNA, because we are beings of light first and foremost. When we start to live from the heart and we allow our light to shine, we have the potential to understand a lot more than what we would normally do if we live a life of fear.
Perfect. Last of all, Jenny, where can readers purchase Awakening, the Inevitable Door?
It's available on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, and Amazon.de, and I think Amazon AU, Australia. And it's also on Barnes & Noble and Goodreads.
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you, Jenny. That was fascinating. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you publish your next book. I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future, and thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thanks so much, Jenny.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.